But character actors do not benefit from the same belief. For example, it was to see Hopkins embodying Richard Milhous Nixon that audiences spent $13.5 million at the box office, not to be engaged by Joan Allen's performance as his wife. And most recently, although her performance in it garnered excellent reviews, as I've mentioned, Paul W.S. Anderson's Death Race snagged $36 million at the box office, largely due to the promised star performance of British-born action performer Jason Statham. Screen character actors like Joan Allen face three central and interesting problems that I would like to look at now. With each of these problems, an actor who can manage to navigate the straits it presents and emerge triumphant has a real chance to build a career in movies, although it should be emphasized that a well-built career often does not mean a solid platform upon which one can bask in the sun easily and forever, but instead simply an opening up of opportunities for further competition and struggle in order to get a job. Given the absence now of the genre film assembly line of studio days and of the studio-owned stable of character players who repeated their work in film after film, there are few opportunities for character actors to indelibly etch a claim upon a type of role. Midler, Bergen, and Danner come to mind as exceptions of a sort. For the most part, any role written in such a way as to be perfect for only one person compromises a production, since the actor in question gains leverage for bargaining. Roles of the kind Joan Allen plays are therefore typically written so as to be open to a number of equally talented and equally hungry actors, each with an aggressive agent, sometimes many of them with the same aggressive agent, each with a manager, each with a publicity representative hungry to sell her name to the press in conjunction with a reputable film assignment. But regardless of competition and regardless of the fact that there are skilled character actors eager for work lining the walls of casting offices, the work itself, once an actor has secured it, has certain intrinsic challenges that Allen has met with a particularly sharp combination of intelligence and instinct. Condensation. The character player. Are we going to dim the lights every time there's a clip? Still? Okay. The character player is likely to have only a very few scenes, amounting to only, in total, to only minutes of screen time. For any one of these, the scripted character may be built swiftly and sure-handedly out of fragments that can last only a second or two in front of the camera. This is what can be called small performance. And when it is done brilliantly, as Allen invariably manages, the performative moment has the character of a Barthesian punctum, one of those sensitive points, precisely, marks, wounds. Although the small performance occurs in a film as a kind of pricking point, materialized through brief flashes, sometimes through only one brief flash, it remains a seriously desired effect for actors and producers alike that audiences should remember that performance, sufficiently so for producers that viewers flock to theaters to see the characterization for its own sake, and for actors so that a consistent and lucrative career can be built upon the claim that viewers recognize the performer's work and value it for qualities that are long-lived in viewers' recognition, even if they're put on show in only a curtailed fashion. Think, for example, of Paul Dano's tour de force rendition of the insanely zealous young preacher in P.T. Anderson's There Will Be Blood, 2007. Or, for an even briefer performance, Clive Owen's killing CIA assassin to have a pound of Damon's flesh in the farm fields of southern France in Doug Liman's Born Identity, 2002. Further, in most shots involving character players, they are not centered scene, but instead choreographed with other supporting players or else left in a kind of penumbra that surrounds the star, a little less key light, often less focus. Or else they are positioned in shot-reverse shot interchanges of dialogue where their every appearance, fully in frame, gets weighed against a competitive and structurally stronger appearance from the star. star Javier Bardem's shot-counter-shot conversation with character player Matthew Posey as a sporting goods salesman in the Coen brothers' No Country for Old Men, 2007. Typically, the character actor must work generously and fulsomely in a tiny production space, brief shots, few shots overall, with only part of the character's being explored in any depth. And while doing this work, she is constantly faced with the requirement of not upstaging the star. This being true, by the way, whether or not the star performer or performers are on screen at the same time. In Oliver Stone's Nixon, for example, Pat Nixon must somehow seem to be directly in front of us or in the conscience of her husband, even when for one reason or another she's not in the same room. Yet at no point must the film itself ever seem to be anything but Richard Nixon's film. That is, a property whereby the labor of Anthony Hopkins is contracted, used, centralized, highlighted, and ultimately sold as a principal value, notwithstanding the fact that in the working relationship, Hopkins, the professional worker, claims no superiority and demands no privileges he would not share with his supporting player. As with Pat Nixon in this film, character parts in general must live with vivacity in tiny cages, like pets. Thus, without the care and skill of a consummate character actor like Joan Allen, the character part can look like nothing more than icing on a cake, pure decoration. Consider in this light how much Allen is able to accomplish with a simple twitch of the lip. In this singular moment from Nixon, after promising her that to save the family he will leave politics, her husband has rebounded with genuine and fresh optimism after the assassination of John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson's later announcement that he will not seek a second term. Nixon is back, but Pat, his closest confidant and bulwark of strength, his dependable companion, hasn't been told yet.
We got the press this time. We got the big ball. We're back.
So excited.
Can we up the volume a bit?
You trying to tell me?
Here we see genuine, direct responsiveness to a moment, and this makes the performance real, that is, shockingly spontaneous and apparently unconstructed. Painful chagrin and resignation are legible in her posture before she strides off, the dutiful, loyal, suffering wife betrayed by a husband's hungers, but also a woman who knew all along that for this husband the promise to abandon the political arena was one he could never keep. A woman whose love is so deep and so strong, she knows even the architecture of her partner's inner ruins. Her disgust at his betrayal must be played as a self-reproach directed against her own enabling, so that Nixon himself, sensing this, will know that the slow destruction of this woman, which we are here witnessing in microcosm, is one of the facts of life that cause his rot. When Nixon resigns, he collapses into his wife's embrace, knowing that by this moment, even she may be crumbling as well.
Oh, buddy. If I could just sleep. I could just sleep.
What's that?
Once, I'm sick as a boy. My mother gave me this stuff. Made me swallow it. Made me throw up all over. Wish I could do that now. I'm so afraid. I could always see where I was going. I got